Section 6.4, dividing polynomials, long division. So our first objective and only objective is dividing polynomials. So we've been dividing polynomials this whole time using rational expressions because it's a fraction, and fractions mean division. But sometimes we can't simplify it. So this gives us a tool to simplify it more. So before dividing, make sure the polynomial is in standard form. Standard form means it's the greatest exponent to the lowest exponent. If a value is missing, add in a 0. So for an example, if we have x to the 5th minus 3x to the 3rd plus x squared minus 8, you see how it's missing x to the 4th because it jumps from 5 to 3. So we need to add it in with a 0. So now we have x to the 5th plus 0 x to the 4th, because 0 times anything is 0. And if you add 0 to something, it doesn't change the value. So you can do anything you want in math as long as it doesn't change the value. So there really aren't steps that I can write down in order for us to go over this. It's more so that you're just kind of repeating a couple steps. So what you want to look at, this is a great example to look at first. You want to look at just that front number. So these two front numbers, how can I make 7x be 28x? By multiplying. Well, if we multiply by 4x, it comes out to 28x. So then we multiply 4x back to 7x and 3. Let me change color so that can be more consistent. So we multiply 4x back over to 7x and 3, and then we get positive 28x and positive 12x. After you multiply it back, you want to change the signs. So you change the signs. Positive 28x becomes negative, and positive 12x becomes negative. Then you add. So we have 23x plus a negative 12x, we get negative 35x, and then you just bring down the 15 because we didn't do anything to it. And then you repeat the steps again. So how can we make 7x be negative 35x? Well, if we multiply by negative 5, we can get negative 35x. And then you just repeat the steps over and over and over again until you cannot do it anymore. So let's do that. Example 1, part A, we want to divide c squared plus 3c minus 2 over c plus 1. Now we're doing long division, so we need to make it look like long division, meaning that we have c plus 1 on the outside, and on the inside we have c squared plus 3c minus 2. Now, if this is factorable, you could factor it, you could simplify it from there, but that's why we're starting off easy when there's no remainder. So now, how do we make c be c squared? Well, we multiply by c. That gives us c squared. So we multiply it back out. We do c times c is c squared. C times 1 is 1c. Now we change the signs. So positive becomes negative. Positive becomes negative. The first one will always cancel out. Then we have 3c minus 1c to get positive 2c. And then we do nothing to the negative 2, so we just bring it down, negative 2. Now we repeat the process. So how can we make c, different color here, how can we make c be 2c? Well, if we multiply by positive 2, then we multiply it back out. So we have 2 times c is 2c, 2 times 1 is 2. Now we're going to change the signs. So positive So now we need to switch the signs. Positive becomes negative, and those cancel out. So now we're left with just, sorry about that, negative 4. Now, can c ever be negative 4? No, it can't. So therefore, that's it. We can't do anything more. So we have c plus 2 minus 4 over c plus 1. That's the remainder. Maybe you remember that from when you were in middle school doing long division, that the remainder goes over what's on the outside. All right, part B. So part B, we have y squared minus 5y plus 6 divided by y minus 2. So the y minus 2 goes on the outside, and y squared minus 5y plus 6 goes on the inside. Now we're going to just keep doing it what we've been doing. How do we make y be y squared? We'll multiply by y. We're going to multiply that out. So we have y times y is y squared, and then y times negative 2 is negative 2y. Now we change the signs. Positive becomes negative, negative becomes positive. We add straight down. The y squareds cancel out. We have negative 5y plus 2y to get negative 3y. And then bring down the 6 plus 6. Now we repeat the steps again. How do we make y be negative 3y? We'll multiply by negative 3. So we multiply that back out. So we have negative 3 times y is negative 3y. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Now we need to change the signs. So negative becomes positive, positive becomes negative. Everything cancels out. We're left with 0. Therefore, there is no remainder, and the only answer is y minus 3. You don't have to put in parentheses, I just did. Alright, part C. Part C, we have n cubed plus 7n squared plus 14n plus 3 divided by n plus 2. So we haven't really been paying attention now so far if it's in order. It is in order because we have 3, 2, 1, none, and there's no missing numbers, so we can go ahead and divide this. We have n plus 2 on the outside, n cubed plus 7n squared plus 14n plus 3. This is why we learned to divide polynomials, because could you factor n cubed plus 7n squared plus 14n plus 3? It's a little hard, right? So this way we can't factor, but we can still simplify by dividing. So how do we make n be n cubed? Well, multiply by n squared. So now we're going to multiply that back out. We have n squared times n is n cubed. N squared times 2 is 2n squared. Now we're going to add and change the sign. So positive becomes negative, positive becomes negative. The n cubes cancel out. Now we're left with 7n squared minus 2n squared, and that gives us positive 5n squared. And then we're just going to bring down what we didn't touch yet. So plus 14n plus 3. We're going to repeat the steps again. So how do we make n be 5n squared? Well, we multiply by 5n. So times positive 5n. We're going to multiply that back out. So we have 5n times n. We get 5n squared. 5n times 2 is 10n. We're going to change the signs. So positive becomes negative, positive becomes negative. The 5n squareds cancel out. We have 14n minus 10n. We're left with 4n. And we bring down the 3. Repeat the steps again. You do this until you can't anymore. So how do we make n be 4n? Well, we multiply by positive 4. So we multiply by positive 4. We multiply it back out. We have 4 times n is 4n. 4 times 2 is 8. We're going to change the signs. So positive becomes negative, positive becomes negative. The 4n's cancel out, and we're left with negative 5. So that's our remainder. So our answer is n plus 2. n squared plus 5n plus 4 minus 5 over n plus 2. All right, part D. Part D, we have negative 5k squared plus k cubed plus 8k plus 4 divided by negative 1 plus k. So we need to arrange what goes inside. Doesn't matter what else, just only what goes inside the house or garage or however you learned it. So we have k cubed minus 5k squared plus 8k plus 4. And we can leave it on the outside as negative 1 plus k, but that's really weird to us. So we're going to change that to k minus 1, just to make it look better for us. So now we want to repeat our process. How do we make k be k cubed multiplied by k squared? So we have k squared times k is k cubed. K squared times negative 1 is negative k squared. We're going to change the signs and add. So positive becomes negative, negative becomes positive. We add the columns, so k cubed cancels out, and k squared cancels out. See how they all cancel out here? Oh, I forgot a k. Never mind. I forgot a 5. Rewind. So the k cubes cancel out, and then we have negative 5k plus k squared. So we're left with 4k squared. And we're going to bring down the rest. So plus 8k plus 4. Now we repeat our steps. So how do we make k be 4k squared? Well, we multiply by, negative 4k squared. So we have to multiply by negative 4k. So we multiply by negative 4k, multiply it out. So negative 4k times k is negative 4k squared. Negative 4k times negative 1 is positive 4k. We're going to switch the signs and add. So negative becomes positive. Positive becomes negative. The 4k squareds cancel out. We have 8k minus 4k. That leaves us with positive 4k. And we're just going to bring down the 4. Repeat your steps again. So how can we make k be 4k? Multiply by positive 4. So we multiply by positive 4, multiply it out. We have 4 times k is 4k. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. We're going to switch the signs. So positive becomes negative, negative becomes positive. We add the columns. The 4k's cancel out. We have positive 4 plus 4. That leaves us with 8. So that's our remainder. Our answer is k squared minus 4k plus 4 plus 8 over k minus 1. Alright, that's it for this chapter. In class, we're going to go over plenty of examples before you get to your exit ticket, so don't worry, you will see more. There's not much variation we can go from here, but you'll see a little more things when we get to class.